Sounds good.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Court Addict with American Courts and ATX Alli. How are you doing, ATX?
I'm doing good. How's everybody tonight? It's a Friday night. I'm so glad the week's over. It was a really busy week. I went to Houston on Tuesday, and I got to meet Judge Fleischer in person. That was really awesome. The court staff could not have been more sweet and more welcoming and more amazing. We all got to go out for lunch afterwards. That's when Kathy joined us. Kathy flew in and she at least got to make it to lunch with us. She had some hiccups with her travel, but she made it to lunch, so that was good. The judge wasn't able, he was originally planning to come to lunch, but then he had a scheduling conflict, so he ended up not making it. But we had a great time. Donald was there. It was his birthday, so we celebrated him. Fozzie showed up and surprised everybody, wrapped his arms around me in the middle of the court, and I turned around. I was like, oh my God, he's like, surprise. So that was super fun. So yeah, it was good. It was a long drive. It's 3 hours there, 3 hours back, but not bad actually. It's basically two freeways from Austin to get there. So it wasn't a bad drive, just long drive.
All right. It looks like we got a good crowd already. We got Jane, Nancy, Nan, David, KK, Victoria,
Yay.
Linus, Throw the Goat, Gina. We got a whole bunch of people. And if I don't say your name, there's looks that got rich. If I don't say your name, it's because I think I already have, or I got distracted by something. I've got a 6-week-old kitten, and I realized how similar I am to how easy it is for her to get distracted. I started to look some other direction, and all of a sudden I started thinking, oh, I need to go do that, and completely forget where I'm at. We had an interesting court case with that Judge Ricky earlier. What do you think of that one?
That one was really interesting. I didn't catch the first part, which I wish I had, because it wasn't until that I heard, I was listening, I was paying attention to chat like I usually do. But then when I heard um, the victim impact statement saying that he had died from fentanyl that she had introduced, I immediately stopped everything and focused on that. And I know they were married. I never got to find out was how it got introduced to him. Was he an addict? Was it an accident? Was it poisoning? Was that ever said?
I don't remember. I believe it was he overdosed, and she just kind of. If I had to speculate, and I hate doing that because someone's life was in the mix. I it feels like they were just sitting back getting high, and he overdosed, and she probably just kind of zoned out and did what you do when you're high like that, and it just kind of fell apart.
Yeah,
But
and then
it
she
was
didn't resuscitate him. I
well,
heard that part, so
but
that
if
was not
but
cool.
if she was a mess in the corner dealing with her own thing, what would
Right. Like,
you know?
was she passed out, or was she cognizant that he was dying and refused to do something? Like, that's a very different thing too.
But from someone who's never been high, I'll throw the shot out there of what does it matter? In other words, if you're high, you've made yourself.
Right.
I love that, Steve. I love that, Steve. I actually thought about that. I was going to be an ass one day and bring the kitten and put it on my shoulder, but I realized I don't like cats that much. That's a big and special that way. My daughter babysitted a little kitten for a friend, and we ended up adopting the little kitten. So it was certainly not planned, or at least it wasn't planned by me. It may have been planned by my daughter, may have been planned by my wife. They do tend to do things, outside of my knowledge, and then act like I knew about it all along, or they asked me
You're
and I
such a
forgot
girl
about it.
dad. You're such a girl dad.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got two daughters, a 25-year-old and a 17-year-old, and I found out she was 17. Hold on, her birthday's next month. She is 16. She'll turn 17 next month. Okay, they mentioned she was 17 today, and I was like, oh hell, I've been calling her 16 for a year now. But yeah, she has to be turning
um,
17 because she damn sure can't be turning 18. I can't handle that right now.
yeah, I couldn't deal with that. I know my husband wouldn't be able to deal with that. He thinks about it all the time. He's like, if I had a daughter, I would. He's protective over the dog. Our dog is 7, and he doesn't want to get her fixed because she's still a baby.
Yeah,
She's too little. And I was like, she's 7. So, yeah, ATX does stand for something. ATX is short for Austin, Texas. So, everywhere in Austin, Texas, everybody refers to it as ATX. So,
I thought
that's where I live.
I thought that was your
And
first
so,
name.
no, that is not my first name. So, yeah, that's what the ATX is. And then my first name is Allison if I'm in trouble, but everybody calls me Allie. So,
Okay.
that's what it is.
Well, Jane mentions about the Narcan. I was working on an ambulance whenever Narcan was first started, and all I remember about Narcan was it really made people mad. It really made people mad when you give it to them, and so we thought it was kind of funny, in other words, how mad they were that they lost their high. In our mind, we were excited because hey, we saved your life, but people tend to take it as
Absolutely.
a bummer. People tend to, kind of get upset about it, like, hey, I just lost my
Well,
high. I spent money on that. In fact, we had a
it's
few
not just
times.
that though. But
What's that?
it's not just that. It's not just that. When you get hit with Narcan, it doesn't just kill your high, it throws you into immediate withdrawal. It kicks every opioid out of your receptors and you're immediately into withdrawal. Like when you wake up. So you don't just wake up on high, you wake up sick. So it's super not fun. I mean, yeah, it's better than death, obviously. But Vicky, why would an active user not have Narcan on them? Because it's $45 to purchase it. You can get it a lot of places for free. Not every. I didn't know about it that I could get it for free. Like I get it at my clinic. I have it everywhere. I have it in my glove box. I have it in my purse. I have it in my bathroom. I have it everywhere because I used to ride the bus a lot. I used to see people ODing on the bus all the time. So I carry it with me everywhere. But if you go to Walgreens, it's $45. And I can guarantee you an addict is not going to spend $45 of money that could go to getting high. I promise you that.
No, no, but Jane made a great point. Mad versus dead. I absolutely agree with her on that.
Yeah, right?
We've got a couple of churches in town. We've got a couple of churches in town that have like vending machines outside that have Narcan,
Mm,
and we have we have a lot of public outcry over it, arguing because that's going to be where the homeless people sleep. That's going to be where they come in at, and um, that's not a fight I'm going to get in because I don't want to be in I don't want to be in that part because I don't want to ever know someone's death is on because of my convenience. But
mm.
moments you're saying it wasn't administered the right way. Back when we gave it, it was only a one way thing. It was like a one dose. I think it was like a you just kind of press a button and it kind of just does its thing. And so
Yeah, that's what I
there wasn't a way of doing it. You're right, and we're saying if it does it slowly, if you give them slowly, it doesn't react that way. I don't remember us
have.
having an option for that. Those years of my life went by pretty quick, and so I don't really remember a lot of it. But I didn't remember it was almost like the new defibrillators, the new AEDs, where you just kind of press the button and it goes through its check and does what it does.
Yeah, and
Um,
there are a ton of places you can get Narcan for free. Absolutely. Like my clinic gives it away for free in mass. Um, but I can tell you when I was an addict, I had no idea where a clinic was or that there were clinics I could go to, or else I would have gone to them years ago. I didn't know about any like needle exchanges. I just bought my needles at Walgreens and just threw them away. Like I shouldn't have. But yeah, I don't think everybody knows that that's a thing that they can get it in free places, but I know that they sell it at Walgreens for $45 and you're more I went to Walgreens all the time as a user, as an addict, so I that would be the only place I would see it, and there's no way I'd ever spend $45 on that when I was an addict. No.
no, 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 yeah, $45 is a lot of drugs, and so
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah. That's it. That's a day's worth of drugs right there. Like that would make me survive a full day comfortably, comfortably.
yeah, yeah, and it's amazing what people spend on for entertainment, but whenever they don't want to spend that for health. Um, thank you everybody for being over here. I really do appreciate it. We're going to jump into a um, I'm going to jump into a Judge Fleischer video from I believe it was yesterday. It may have been the day before, but it was a recent
Okay.
one where there was a lot of discussion with the judge about it. I want to be able to have an open discussion. We can all agree that we respect Judge Fleischer. We can all expect that we love Judge Fleischer. We need to look at this objectively and just truly think about it, because there's a lot of debate over there of, well, if a doctor prescribes drugs, does that trump what a judge has to say? And I don't know. I don't know. I think the judge is making the best decision with the information he has. But the lawyer brings up good points. The lawyer brings up good, strong points, and he's doing his job as a lawyer. Now, does he believe the argument he's making? Hell, I don't know. I don't know, and somewhat don't care. It doesn't matter. He's doing his job as a lawyer. The judge is doing his job as a judge. But I think it's important that we're able to actually look at it and think about it and just kind of put it in perspective of, one, if a doctor prescribes something, who is a judge to say no? Another one is, if a doctor prescribes something, does that mean it's okay? Because we all know that doctors prescribe some bad stuff. There's been a lot of good people that have lost their lives because of doctors just prescribing things away. So we're going to look at it and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to remember that we're going to respect the judge, we're going to respect the courts, but we're going to be able to express our opinions. We're not going to just be toting the water for anybody in this case. So, Alli, you haven't happened to have seen this one, have you?
I probably haven't. I think I picked up a stomach bug in Houston, and I came home and I was just sick the whole next day and was pretty much dead to the world for a good 24 to 36 hours. So today was my first day fully back online. So yeah, I haven't seen it. I'm excited.
Okay, yeah, and this one's a good one. Like I said, the lawyer is being very strong advocating for his client, and the judge is being very strong also. I don't think anyone's right. I don't think anyone's wrong. I think everyone's jumping in it. But it's going to be good, and I got Vicki Johnson saying she's going to be open-minded and objective, so we're going to roll with
Love
it.
it.
But look, I don't want to make this defendant out to be the boogeyman. He's an addict. He's trying to get his life straight. His life is being exposed out here in the real world, and we want to be able to talk about it because we want to learn, but we want to make sure that we understand. We're not beating him up. That could have been any one of us. That could have been any one of our kids if life was a little bit different. So let's jump into that.
Right. Cool.
Mr. Name. Hey, what's new?
I'm here. It's off docket on Caleb Jones, who appeared, I want to say it was Friday. It's for a DWI second. I was going to bring you the medical marijuana stuff from the doctor. And then also he needs to have it was a crash. He doesn't have a car. We need to do a portable on it and no driving affidavit. I brought him in.
I don't know if I'm going to let him continue to smoke weed. Why does he need to continue to smoke weed?
It's for PTSD. He shot himself and lost a finger. I have medical records, and it is an actual doctor prescription from Texas. And you can I approach with there's a number that you can actually, you might want to do this when people say that they can. It's a number that calls for the state, and they will verify the person actually truly registered without the prescription.
Nathan, will you talk to me real quick?
Sure. Hey, what's going on? These are actual records. And the letter from this doctor.
Like, what's the state's position on this? So this gentleman is charged with DWI.
Okay.
Is it a alcohol DWI? Is it a marijuana DWI?
There's no DRE, but it's not alcohol. But I don't think I don't think it's drugs either, Judge. But I don't think I think it's it's like you saying that somebody can't have their blood pressure medication. It's a true doctor prescription.
I'll be happy to look at the case and talk to Dustin this morning, Judge.
Well, the thing is that it's a marijuana DWI,
Okay.
and he wants to continue smoking marijuana.
But he's not driving
How do I know that?
because he doesn't have a car. He crashed it.
Does he have
How
a
do I know
medical?
he can't borrow a car from his neighbor, from his
Well,
mom?
Judge, that's all assumptions. We can't just assume things. We have
Does
to
he
give
have a
him
medical
benefit.
exemption?
He does.
He does. So he has a medical exemption, apparently.
How do we know that it's from a legitimate doctor though? Because
Well, I just gave the records to you, Judge,
Well,
but there's a phone number you can
I
call.
agree with you, Judge.
You can call the phone number.
I'd be happy to just. I would like to look at the case, just the merits of the case, before maybe we do any
Listen,
more attention.
take a look with Nathan.
Then maybe.
My mic's going around trying to get it.
Yes, Judge.
Is that
Trying to
okay?
get away
Yeah,
from
that's fine.
blocking their faces.
Joaquin, I'll hit you next.
Okay. All right. So Judge, they called the Texas number.
Does Saba actually call a line and has information to the court? I don't know if it's going to be helpful to resolve things today, but I think it'll be helpful to move things in the future, potentially. So.
Judge, so I spoke to, what's the name of the,
Texas Compassionate
yeah,
Use
Texas
Program.
Compassionate Use Program. I spoke to them they're gonna give me, they said confirmation within 1 to 3 business days regarding whether or not the defendant in fact does have a medical marijuana card.
I have a problem allowing someone who has a DWI because of marijuana, continuing to allow them to smoke marijuana.
Let's verify first that he does have a lawful prescription through the state of
I'm going to
Texas.
tell him no smoking for now until we're able to verify something.
Okay.
No, but he has a DWI for marijuana. We're
But
going
that'd be
to.
like you telling a diabetic they can't have their insulin. It's a.
No,
Just because you disagree
no.
with it doesn't
That's a
mean
light
it's not.
diabetic medication. It's a life-saving information. This is not.
Maybe marijuana is too now. We don't know. I'm not a doctor. You're not a doctor. We're not researchers. But enough has happened with the legislature has approved this, and the prescription has been. If it's truly a valid prescription for the state of Texas, I think there's a problem with this, Judge.
I'm going to tell you, even if he has a valid prescription, I have a problem allowing someone to use marijuana when they're on bond for a DWI with
I
marijuana.
get that, but that's not Judge. That's not appropriate. I mean, what you're saying is if that is a true legal medication, you're saying that you just don't agree with that medication. If it's truly a legal prescription, that's what I'm getting at. And I'm not trying to pick this
Come
fight
up,
or
sir.
anything. I just
Come up.
But I want
to know why there's no other way to medicate.
That's for a doctor to tell us. Is I don't know, Judge. I'm not
I
qualified to
want
give that
to,
opinion.
what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk to the doctor who prescribed it to figure out why there's no other reasonable way to medicate.
If the doctor will talk to you, I mean, let's wait to let's get the confirmation from the state of Texas that it is a true lawful prescription. But I'm not trying to pick this fight with you if it's not. That's
Understand.
stupid on my part. But
Listen, I have thick skin and I'm not going to begrudge you for zealously advocating for your client, but at the same time, also have thick skin that I have a DWI. It's a marijuana DWI. And anytime I have a DWI with whatever substance that is, I have them stop using whatever substance that contributed to the DWI, whether it's alcohol, whether it's pills, whether it's marijuana in this case, whether it's psilocybin, whether it's acid, meth.
what if it's Xanax or cyclobenzaprine or tramadol? We don't do that. You see what I'm getting at?
Xanax, yes. I mean, yes, but why not use Xanax instead of marijuana then?
Well, people rob convenience stores on Xanax.
No. Now you're now you're getting apples and oranges. But
And I don't know.
there has to be another way to.
Why don't we do this? And this is what I've done in Montgomery County, which they are way harder to deal with because when you practice. Why don't I do it this way is get a letter from the doctor that states what Montgomery County does is that based on their analysis and their treatment and whatever plan it is that there's no other non-narcotic medication.
But I know that any doctor's going to write that. I really want to know
medical
why.
license on the line if they're lying. They're not gonna make that statement, just like I would as a lawyer.
But Dustin, I would like to know why there's no other way to medicate. Why can't they take Vraylar? I'm not a medical doctor, but there's so many other antidepressants out there. There's so many other medications to use.
Let's just wait. Well, first let's wait to the state of Texas, the actual state of Texas is authorizing that as a prescription. Let's just do that first. And then
I'm going to assume that is the case.
Okay.
Even if that is the case,
I'm going to pause it real quick. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Jane, you're absolutely right. It something like that will probably end up at the Supreme Court, but it's got to make it through all these other lower courts first. And the person involved is going to be just stuck until it gets there. They're just going to be stuck in the system until it ever makes it to that point. And this person, if he's 100% right, would probably never see the benefit of it. It would make it to the Texas Supreme Court, and probably 5 to 10 years down the road, somebody would be able to have a benefit from it. But what do you think about that, Alli? He had a DUI for, other than alcohol.
Suspend his license and make him sign the affidavit that he's not going to drive. Like that's the only option I see is clear. He has a valid prescription for it. You wouldn't tell him he couldn't take a prescription for anything else. Like I love Judge Fleischer, but I don't agree with them because the doctors have already established that whatever they've tried, that marijuana is the best option. Like he's explored. I don't necessarily agree with going to like Xanax is in my personal opinion a far more dangerous drug than marijuana is. Um, and yeah, I mean, if that's what they've established, I think no, I won't do that. I'm not going to be mean. Um, but yeah, make him sign an affidavit. He's not going to drive. Take away his license. Like he can't drive. If he wants to smoke weed, if he wants to keep his prescription, he can't drive. Like that's the caveat right
Right.
there.
Well,
And
I think
if he wants to keep driving, then he's got to give up the weed. Those it's a give and take. That's my opinion.
I think they've already established that, but I think it's the consistency of everybody who gets put on, puts on bond like that is, you lost your license, but then also you can't take any drugs. And for that to show up in there, it goes against all the other people that are following those conditions that he would have a special exemption. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think Judge Fleischer is very suspicious about the prescriptions for that in his state. I don't have any
I
inside
agree with that,
information.
and that's completely valid because they do hand them out like candy. Like I feel like you could go to any doctor and be like, "I have headaches," and they're like, "Oh, you definitely need this prescription." Then, like that's definitely I feel how it's handled. It is a
Right.
joke,
Yeah.
but
In
it
Florida,
is a
we've
lot
got,
safer. And for instance, the reason they do that is because I feel the risk is a lot lower as far as misuse. Obviously, you can't drive on it at all. It's impaired. Like you can't be impaired driving. Like no. Like I like to take gummies when I'm in pain and I don't drive on them. Like I don't agree with that at all. I don't drink and drive either. Um, but no, I want to get back to something before I forget. Moments of Justice asked about if somebody was prescribed methadone and got and charged with a DUI for it. Now, that wouldn't happen. Okay, and well, I'll give you two sides. If you are on a correct dosage of methadone, you wouldn't get a DUI for it because it doesn't make you messed up. It doesn't fuck you up. It doesn't make you high if you're on a correct dose. If you're abusing it and taking
Still
more than
have the
what your
same
dose is
thing.
supposed to be,
I'd like to know
then
why there are no
hold on. I don't know why it started playing. I got
that's
you.
okay. Yeah, so if they're on their regular dose, there shouldn't be an impairment to do a DUI. It would show up in their blood, but there would be something else causing that DUI unless they were taking more than their prescribed dose. And in that case, then they would not need to be removed from it. They would need to be put back on their low dose. Like if you go to a clinic, my methadone clinic, if they found out that I was abusing mine and taking more than my dose, they'd put me on what they call a forced taper, which is often called a suicide taper, where they taper you down in like something crazy in like 3 to 5 days. And it's called a suicide taper for a reason.
Okay.
But
I guess people have a
it's
hard
not.
time with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's you need a taper over like 6 months to a year.
So I think what her question is says, would judge tell someone prescribed methadone that they have to suddenly stop if they were charged with a DUI for it? I think if they're charged with a DUI for it, that I think you've established can't happen. But if they're charged with a DUI, and this is one of the terms, such as this one here, because he's charged with a DUI, and and they can't determine what the actual drug was, but just part of his agreement is to not use any drugs. But if
Yeah.
now, like I know with Judge Boyd considers methadone drugs, so Judge Boyd doesn't want to
Yep.
hear it. That's one we've talked about in particular. Rich
Well,
is
she doesn't consider you clean. She
right.
doesn't consider you clean and sober if you're on methadone or like a medication assisted
Well,
treatment. Like she
and
doesn't
I guess
consider that clean and sober.
I guess I'll be naive also to say. I agree with her on that because to me, if you're on pain medications, you're not clean and sober, but you're on the necessary medicine. And so,
Right. And she said, Moments just said that in her experience as my baby sister that was in that situation, it was a day her dose was increased. So it was a big argument. See, if her dose was increased that day and it was too big of a jump and she got high and she was impaired, I could see that, but I wouldn't see an argument for the judge to be like, well, you can't have methadone anymore. Just be like, okay, well, this was what happened. It's a cause and effect. Take them down to what she should have been at. That's how I would. I mean, just knowing those little teeny tiny bit of the case, that's what I'm saying.
Right. And Rich is talking about marijuana increasing anxiety. It does for some people, but it reduces it it relaxes other people. I
Mhm.
know some people that are in the bodybuilding and weightlifting world that take marijuana to pump them up. And then I know other people to take it to calm down. So I guess it's different strands, different varieties of it, but also different genetics, different body types. There's some people that weed mellows them out, and then there's other people that get hype, that just get agitated and miserable with it. And I guess that's what
Yeah.
makes it so addictive to some people.
Right.
And so, but Jane's been throwing up some good points. And yeah, Gina's bringing up that he's suspicious of the script. Absolutely. So
Yeah. it could be.
in Texas, marijuana is illegal for medical also.
Me?
Yes. Is marijuana
No,
illegal
mine
for medical, or is it legal?
in Texas. Texas is only legal if it's a prescription. So the recreational, the gummies that I take are they're a different strain. They're not the illegal THC. It's like called Delta 8 and Delta 9. It's a chemically altered strain, and that's legal here. So you
Okay.
can buy them anywhere, like anywhere here.
Yeah, in Florida, they made medical marijuana legal a couple of years ago, and now we've got a lot of California companies that they'll be driving around in vans, and it says if you don't have a medical card, you can use ours.
Right. That's
And
so
they'll
crazy.
pull up in a grocery store parking lot and have people come up like a damn ice cream truck. And so
Wow.
I'm just saying it's not working out as planned. We've got a petition on our ballot this year to make recreational marijuana legal, but only from the big national companies. And so there's a lot of discussion about that. But
Yeah.
we're gonna try to catch up these and jump back in.
All right. Sounds good.
Babysitter's in a situation. In California, a lot of doctors use pain centers now instead of liability of prescribing pain pills. Absolutely. In Florida, we have the villages and we have a big older crowd, and so you're going to get a lot of pain management. And we became a pill center for a lot of people. We became just a pill mill across the country, and that was miserable. And
Mhm.
it seems like we just evolve, like 5 years we'll be into pills, the next years we'll be into pot, then it'll go to meth, and it just seems like there's always just something on us. Gina, have a good night. Thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah.
Gina's awesome.
Moments of Justice. I see. Yeah. You said that the same clinic OD'd her 2 weeks after she coded in front of my grandmother while I was on the phone with her. Big reason why I went to EMS. Yeah. That's so scary. I couldn't imagine seeing that. Like, that's awful. It sounds like her clinic didn't really know what the hell they were doing. I mean, I don't know. That's so scary that that happened so close to each other. But good night, Victoria.
And I think Jane's talking about the little gummies, talking about available in gas
Yes.
stations.
Yeah, they're available at gas stations all over, or the smoke shops or vape shops. That's where you can get them, and they actually sell like the legal strains of flower weed that you can actually smoke in there. That's the Delta 8, Delta 9, and I don't do that. I don't smoke. I hate smoking. I hate inhaling anything other than oxygen. Like I just don't like it at all. So I could
Yeah,
never
I'm a
jump on
wimp. I've
board.
never smoked cigarettes or weed or anything. It doesn't make sense to me to smoke something in. And I've never seen the benefit of marijuana. So in the end, I don't know what I'm missing, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
And so hey Jamie, it's good to see you here. But
Yeah, I know in Oregon when they first made weed 100% legal is when I still lived there. And when it was recreational and it was legal, they met their 5-year tax goal of sales because they tax it. They do a huge tax on it. They made their 5-year tax goal within the first 10 months of it becoming legal.
yeah,
It
there's
sold that
yeah, there's
much.
a lot of good to it. if I'm for legalizing marijuana, I would want to legalize it just so people have the right to do what they want to do.
Right.
Money's nice, but to hell with money. People should have
Mhm.
the government should argue why we don't have the right to do something versus, the incentive for them to make something legal. I don't care for marijuana. I have no use for it in my life, but I don't like that the government gets to decide what's a good drug and what's a bad drug. And a lot of it depends on how much money they can make from it. It
Yeah.
is what it is. So we've got to learn how to live within that world. But I'm really big on the government just kind of minding their business and doing what they're there for.
Yeah.
But
I want to comment here on Rich, if I can, real
yeah,
quick,
absolutely.
about the pain management clinic, that they won't prescribe any medications. It's done through inject. Yeah, that's the way it was. And that's actually how my addiction started. I was on pain management, like since I was like 16 years old. And I went to a pain clinic and got my pills, took them as prescribed, was fine. And then they started cracking. Well, I ended up building up and up and up to Oxy, and it was right at that right time, right around 2007 2008, when the Oxy epidemic just exploded. And then uh it also imploded at the same time a couple years later when they shut everything down, and now you can't get pills. So I was in that kind of caught in that, where I couldn't get my pills anymore through a doctor. So that's what forced me into doing heroin, because I couldn't find pills anymore.
So so you can't find pills, you can't find pills, you can't find pills. What makes you think heroin's going to be the trick versus, oh, I'll just drink it away? I'm trying to, I'm trying to think of,
I hate getting drunk. I mean, I drink once in a while. Like, we have a wine dinner we go to once a month that's like my, ooh, I'm going to drink a couple glasses of wine, but that's it.
see,
I don't really like drinking at all.
and see, I don't, I know how much I love cheeseburgers. I know how much I love food. I can only imagine how bad of an alcoholic I would be if I enjoyed drinking.
Mhm.
And so I'm just, but in my mind, heroin kind of feels like a non-starter. It kind of, heroin is just like, hey, do you want to drink oven cleaner?
Yeah, I was fully against it. And you know what? You want to hear the really sick progression of it? Like, eased my way into it because I couldn't find, all you could find in my area in Texas is what they call black tar heroin, which is kind of the consistency of peanut brittle. Um, and it can either be sticky, kind of like gum, or like tar. That's why it's called black tar. It's black and it's tarry, but it could also be crystallized, kind of like we break it off in chunks, like peanut brittle. Um, and so when I first got it, I didn't want to inject it and I didn't want to smoke it. So what you do is you make this
Other
like
way,
water. You dilute it with water, and then you can snort it, and they call it monkey water. So I started doing that first, and then I was like, I did that for a couple months, and then I was like, okay, I feel like I'm wasting my money here. I might as well just try to figure out how to smoke it. And then I taught myself how to smoke it. And then I hated smoking it because I hate smoking it. And I was just like, this is just a waste of money. I really should just be shooting it. And then I taught myself how to shoot it.
Well,
And
and that
yeah,
makes sense on the progression of it because, you see people in the like later stages in it, like the almost about to overdose stage, almost about to be found by a family member stage, and you're
right,
trying to think, how in the hell did it get there?
right.
How did it get from I'm a 15-year-old trying to be cool with my friends to I'm gonna shoot a needle in my
That,
ass?
right. Yeah. And
So
it's
I'm just,
crazy. And
and I get pain management. Luckily enough, I'm 45 and I've never had a pain issue. I've never had a bad injury or anything like that. And so I've been really fortunate on that. But I've had family members that I truly love and I truly, I know them. So I know they're not being wimps where pain just simply took over. They became a whole different person. And
yeah,
so I understand the importance of pain management. And if you can't get the medicine you need, whether it's emotional pain or physical pain, you've got to find it somewhere. You've got to find some relief. You've got to hit the valve somewhere for you.
Well,
And
that
so,
and it's not even. It gets to a point where it's not even about getting high anymore. It's about getting well. Like at the end, like the last several years for me was miserable. I hated it. I hated every minute of being an addict because it wasn't about the high. It was about not feeling horrible from withdrawals. It was about being well. It was about managing that. And if I would have known I could have gone to a methadone clinic, I would have gone years and years and years earlier, because for one, it's a hell of a lot cheaper, and I don't have to deal with withdrawals. I don't have to deal with waking up every morning if I slept trying to figure out, okay, where am I going to get money today, and then how do I get a hold of my dealer, and how do I make those two things simultaneously happen every single day
well, you know
doing
what?
that.
To go along with some of these, talking about how Jamie's talking about taking the pain management to the next level, next level. You know what?
Yep.
I love caffeine, and I understand exactly what you mean. I don't want a soda anymore. It's got to be a good drink, for caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my caffeine consumption is probably high enough to worry anybody. I'm completely happy with it, but that would be the closest I could relate to it. Is
Oh, and no, I was just sorry. I just thought that you had mentioned, you asked me a question a few minutes ago about why did I jump to heroin as opposed to drinking. It's because I was on the pain pills. Drinking isn't going to get rid of the withdrawals. Like, it'll make me drunk and forget that I have withdrawals for a couple hours, but it's not going to get rid of the withdrawals. Like, the only thing that would get rid of withdrawals from the pills is going to be an opiate like heroin. And that was the only opiate I can find. Like, I spent so much money on different scams trying to buy pills from different scam artists, and I lost so much money that there just is there's no pills to be found in Austin, in my opinion. I couldn't find any,
no.
and I could find that very easily.
Hey, can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Look at the comment Bodie left for you.
Oh yeah, I know. It was rough. I'm glad I'm here. Like 3.5 years later, I cannot believe the shit that I got away with and the shit that I did. Like, I watch body cam videos all the time of people getting arrested in Walmart for theft, and I'm just like, how did I not get arrested the thousands of times I did that? Yeah, it wasn't fun. I don't recommend it at all. It's not a
No,
life.
no, and like this fella here is on. He's given a prescription for medical marijuana for the PTSD of trying to
Yeah,
end his own life.
yeah,
He's a victim and the perpetrator of the crime that is torturing him. So I'm just saying, he's a
yeah,
victim. He was trying to, he's a victim of him trying to hurt himself, and he's got PTSD over it, and then he's on medical marijuana. And so, I don't know where the evolution is going to get at, but at some point it's going to be, they're going to have, they can do a roadside test for alcohol. At some point, they're going to have to either figure out what the number is for marijuana and how to measure it, or they're going to have
yeah,
to do something, because in the end, the breath test on the side of the road is almost useless for most police officers now.
right.
To me, it's more of a danger for them to be on the side of the road, trying to get people to do a silly walk
Hmm.
than beneficial. It almost should just get to the point of, okay, I think you're on something. Let's go do a blood test. But I also have a lot of freedom issues with the government being able to say, hey, we're going to take your blood. That's kind of a weird, it's kind of a weird line that was crossed, and nobody seems to pay attention to it.
Yeah, and in this guy's case, like, I just think the judge needs to take away his license, make him sign an affidavit he's not going to drive, and drug test him to make sure the only thing he's taking is the marijuana that he's prescribed. Like,
Well,
I don't see how there's any legal way he can get away from that. But I'm not a
well,
lawyer,
let's
so
jump
I don't
back
know.
into it. We've got
That's weird.
17 minutes left, so let's jump in and see where it goes.
To
All right,
medicate
cool.
other than marijuana.
Right, but we don't stop somebody's medical treatment while we're waiting to get that result. That's all I'm asking is, like, let's work, let me work on that and get it, but please do not order him not to use a prescription medication that he has.
But I don't know I don't know if it's prescription.
But if we get that, you say pursued does. So if he's lying and it's not a prescription, well, then that's a whole other issue for all of us, including his attorney.
How are you? What's up, man?
But today, the main thing I'm here today on is I need you to order him to have a portable device because he has no vehicle.
Do what?
I need to have the change to a portable device because he has no vehicle. He can't put an interlock on his car because he doesn't have one. In fact, it was a wreck, so he has no car.
So where's the car?
You tell me that. I have no idea.
It is, it's actually, they just got out the lot and it's at a repair shop.
Once it
So
is
he's
repaired,
gonna
he
get a
will
car
put it
any
on.
minute.
Right, he'll put it in as soon as it's repaired, but he doesn't have one right now.
Get the car back.
They said it could take anywhere from 5 to 6 weeks because the axle broke off the tire wheel.
An NCIC on him. I'd like to see what full kind of criminal history that he has, please.
And I can tell you, Judge, I've represented him for a long time. He's got the one car DWI here. He has a PTI program for heroin use that he completed, and he's off heroin use. And part of that was the PTSD causing him to use drugs, and that's part of this passionate use now.
Another DWI?
It's a second. That's why he has that's why you ordered an interlock, because it's a DWI second.
How long ago was the other DWI? And where was it?
He was here in Harris County, Judge.
It was about like 6, 7 years ago, like 21, 22.
And then it's got the dismissed PCS that was that he did the PTI program through Rick Court.
Last name again?
It's Caleb Jones, Judge. It's all your history's here in Harris County, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He's had 4 total arrests, Judge, 2 DWIs.
That's this one, is one of those.
Yes, a possession of a controlled substance and an unlawful carrying of a weapon.
What
The
was
first
the,
DWI is 2018, Judge.
Yes.
Okay.
And the PCS was a dismissal. I don't remember if the UCW was a dismissal or not. I don't remember. I remember.
Thank you for answering, Mikey. I
when was the
really appreciate
PCS?
that.
What's the cost number, please? Because for some reason I don't have it here.
I can give it to you, Judge. The cause number for this is 2532601. So the carrying of a handgun was in 2020 and a motor vehicle that was in 2020 was dismissed, Judge. The possession of a controlled
It's a
substance.
6th case.
Well, I don't have access to this juvenile stuff, but I see 4.
No, I'm not looking at
Criminal
juvenile.
history.
I'm not
I don't
looking at
think he has
juvenile. He has a UCW that was dismissed.
Okay.
Unsatisfactorily terminated probation
On DWI,
from 2020. A year later picks up a gun case. A year later
which
picks
is
up
dismissed.
a year later
Dismissed.
another
Possession was dismissed. This is this one. But there was this one on the possession case from 2020. That was a conviction, 6-month state jail, deferred adjudication. And then that, and DWI from 2018 was unsatisfactory.
Thank you, Mikey.
Termination.
I didn't know about that. I didn't see the other PCS, Judge. I'm sorry. I wasn't there.
He's never successfully completed a probation.
Completed a PTI program. Didn't he? Am I wrong?
No, it says unsatisfactory.
No, the PCS was a PTI program, wasn't it?
No, I didn't.
You didn't complete it?
No,
Okay.
That one was.
That's why I was sent to state
I'm
jail.
sorry. I apologize. I misspoke. So that was when he had an opiate problem.
Well, I had finished it and
There
then the
was
second I
another-
got out of one night.
Okay.
Yeah.
I drug test you now, what's going to show up?
The marijuana, sir.
What else?
Well, do you have prescription? Your prescription?
I do have prescriptions. I take a Valium like only when like I have a seizure because I have epilepsy, sir. But other than that, though, everything else is non-narcotic. I take a Lamictal. Oh yes, I do take Subzol. That's to help me out keep me off the pain medication and stuff
Suboxone?
like that. Suboxone.
What else?
And
Do you have,
but,
do you have a Xanax prescription or no?
no, it's Valium.
Valium, sorry, my mistake.
But it's a nasal spray though, so it's only like when it's necessary. I'm actually like in a seizure.
I'd like to send him for a drug test now. I want to know everything that's in his system.
That's all you have in your system is what? The marijuana
The marijuana, the Subzol, and
and Suboxone?
I don't know, Dustin. I don't know. I don't know if we're just contributing to the behavior. You know, I mean, I don't understand. What I don't understand are why there's no other ways we can medicate.
Judge,
To
my concern at this point is that I don't know what the test says of what he was or was not on at the scene, because my understanding is the DWI took place, what, on the 8th or something? When was it?
It was a week ago. We were hearing court on Friday. so-
Right, so it takes about 30 days to figure out what's actually in his system or not in his system. So I'm struggling with
is
that.
there a breath test? Is there a blood test? What is it?
It was a voluntary blood, Judge.
And we don't have the labs back, Judge.
It's a 4-6 HGN, zero walking, a 0 1 leg stand, 4 walking turn. He had medical marijuana on him, like the prescription.
Living.
I'm sorry.
What do you do for a living?
Right now, I'm waiting on disability, but I do like entrepreneurial work where I like stock invest and stuff like that, just to make some pocket change. I'm sorry.
How do you get money?
Right now, I'm in between jobs, sir.
His parents hired me, Judge.
Justin's not cheap.
Oh, no, my parents helped me with that, sir, on a payment plan. It's very hard to find work when you're have lupus and epilepsy and stuff like that.
Baloney. It's hard to find work when you get felony convictions. And what you do in the last 5 years, you picked up one case every single year. And you want me to continue to allow you to smoke weed. I have a problem with that. And I really do, Mr. Jones, because historically speaking, since 2020, I'm sorry, since 2018, you are now on your 6th case. And I get it that some of them been dismissed, but nevertheless, it's 6 cases. And all of them have to do with either drugs or alcohol. So for me to allow you to continue to use, it would be enabling you, telling you that it's okay when it's not. In life, this is addiction is a lifelong problem that you're going to be dealing with. And at some point, you're going to have to get off of everything. You can't continue this forever, because the problem is that at some point, whether you're going to get this, whether you're going to get that, whether you're going to the dealer's house to do this, or wherever you're getting your stuff from, peer pressure's bitch. And it scares me to think when you're at a really vulnerable moment in your life, when you run into the wrong person, you may end up spiraling out of control, where once you are able to deal with this, because it's mind over matter, when you have a strong mind and when you have a strong heart, you can do anything in life. And if anybody tells you otherwise, it's baloney. Because with a strong mind and a strong heart, you can achieve anything in life. And what I don't understand is how you cannot find another way to self-medicate. That's what I don't understand. And that's why I would like to talk to the doctor who's prescribing this to see why is there no alternate way to medicate. I mean, he's already on Valium. Did you say he's on Xanax as well?
I used to when he has a seizure, Judge. I was wrong on the Xanax. It's Valium, not Xanax. I was bringing a seizure. But he's on.
One hand, it's
He used to be,
6 and doesn't, 1/2 in the other.
Judge, all I know is a doctor's
No.
prescribing it. He doesn't get it from the dealer. He gets
What you got?
No, Valium, I mean, depending on the dosage, Valium's about like 25% the strength of Xanax. It's not that strong. Yeah. That's all I was saying. Like it's not really it's a lot less. It is a lot. Going from Valium to Xanax is quite a jump.
Yeah,
So,
but
that's all I wanted to jump in and
see, in
say.
my world, it's just a different spelling. You know, in my world, if you never taken anything, you don't know any of that. It's just simply a different spelling. So you hear Valium.
Right. It sounds like to me that everybody's addiction story is I hate the word journey, but it really is a journey. It takes a long time. Like I'm 3.5 years clean. And for me, clean is I haven't put a needle in my arm or used any illegal substances in any illicit way at all. But I am on methadone. I'm on a very, very, very small dose. I used to be on a high dose when I first started. I stepped all the way up to like 200 milligrams. I'm now at 25 milligrams. I step down every 2 weeks. So I'm on a super long taper. Don't want to taper too fast because that's destructive. So I feel like that's kind of maybe where he is in his journey. Like he's on Suboxone. So it sounds like he had he said he had a pain pill addiction before, or to stop taking the pain pills. So he's taking Suboxone for that, which is basically methadone, which is great. That means that he doesn't want to use. So maybe he's just not ready to. He's in that middle stage, kind of where I am, where I'm not ready to get off, and I might not ever be ready to get off.
Yeah.
But hopefully that's the goal.
But and Jane's got a good comment here about all the messages sound good until you've heard them for 30 plus years and nothing's become better. And
Right.
I see that with my son. I want to be motivating to him. I want to say, hey, buddy, you got this. Hey, you don't need this. Hey, he's like, yeah, okay. I hear that from everywhere, but none of that's helping. And so, the judge is definitely on the right track. I guess I have a thing about judges they're not substance abuse specialists. They're legal specialists.
Right.
And they've got substance abuse experience because of what they do. And, to be honest, there's probably a good handful of judges who smoke and do different drugs. I don't think they do a lot of drug testing for judges. I think they do a lot of elections for judges. So I'm just saying we've all got to admit that there's plenty of lawyers that are really strong cocaine users. And
Yeah.
and so
I mean, it
but
sounds like it sounds like the circumstances that they've got the DUI on this are kind of weak. And like he sounds like he did pretty good on all the tests, but he had the medical marijuana in his car. He's obviously his blood's going to be dirty for it. I mean, he did get in an accident, but it seemed like even
Yeah.
after the accident, he didn't do terribly on the test. So I don't know how strong this case is in the first place.
but like moments Justice is saying, he's a walking pharmacy. He shouldn't be driving, period. Steve's talking about
Right.
the seizures
No,
and stuff.
absolutely.
And so
He should not be in a car at all. License
Right.
gone for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And so he's just a mess. But he's a danger to other people on the roads. Houston's no safe place to be driving around.
And Moments just made a really good point that you're absolutely right. And I caught that, but I forgot about it. He also said he's on Lamictal, and Lamictal is a mental health drug that they often give to people with bipolar or people with mood disorders. And you usually can't mix that with weed. So I do wonder if his doctor that's prescribing the marijuana, if they're talking to his mental, if it's the same doctor, because that does seem a little bit fishy to me. You are very right about that.
Okay, well, she has her moments. That's why it's called Moments of Justice.
Moments of justice, yeah.
All right, well, we got about 10 more minutes left of this. Let's finish this up so I can go to bed.
Okay, sounds good.
To the state of Texas through their pharmacy. So I don't know what else to present to you, 'cause that's all I can present to you. Yeah. I guess let's try to do a rush on the blood and do a quick trial setting. And get that
The
in
other
court.
thing I'm going to do, Dustin, is this, is that if it's an absolute must, I don't want him out in the middle of the night. I'm giving him a curfew because I don't trust him and I don't want him out in the middle of the night. Nothing good happens at 1 or 2 in the morning, and I don't want you out in the middle of the night. And I'm going to give you a curfew, because if you're going to continue to smoke, the last thing I want is you out in the middle of the night being up to no good.
And I think you'd rather do that, Judge.
I honestly have no issue with that at all.
And I'm going to put a monitor on you so I know where you are and I don't want you out. I'm going to give you a curfew, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. But you're not out in the middle of the night. And then I want you back here in 3 days and bring me what you got. I'm telling you that I'm hard pressed and I want to know why there's no other alternate method of treatment, that it has to be marijuana.
So if you're not allowed to use the marijuana yet, so let's not put them on a curfew yet.
No,
because
I'm not gonna, if I'm gonna give them a curfew, I'm gonna,
Okay, that's fine.
but I'm back here in 3 days and I want to know why. And I want to know why there's no other reasonable way to medicate and it has to be marijuana. And the only reason is because this is a DWI with marijuana.
When are you seeing your doctor again?
I'm actually supposed to speak to the cannabis clinic tomorrow.
No, I don't care about the cannabis clinic.
That's the doctor.
That's the doctor.
Yeah.
That's the doctor that prescribes the Judge.
I see. So it's the fox guarding the hen house.
I have no idea. I mean, that's a little bit, well, no, only those doctors who are licensed by Texas can prescribe it. So yes, it is the cannabis clinic, because that is the only doctor who can prescribe it. They have to register with Texas.
Going to the cannabis clinic. Where is it?
You have to get it. Well,
Austin, actually.
They're in Austin?
They're
There's
out of,
There's
based out of
one,
Austin.
there's now one over on Richmond Avenue that just opened because I
Yeah,
was.
they have
We're gonna call it
satellite
the
here in
Alli-
Houston, but
Alli
they're based
Clinic.
out of Austin.
Judge, if we are getting a reset on this, I just asked that it be.
It's not even a reset. It's off docket because I'm trying to get the driving issues.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Just by when the
253-2601.
they said 1 to 3 business days. So I should have their response by Tuesday. So let's say it's the Wednesday, if you want to come back in at that point.
Can we come in on Wednesday, Judge? That's when she'll have to
Sure.
look back to the doctor.
Sure, but
I'm sorry, from the
Um,
state of Texas.
According to-
so he gets the monitor. I'd like to send him for a drug test now. I want to know what everything is in the system. If there's something more than just value, I'm going to have a real big problem with it. Dustin, if I see that there's opiates in there or something else that's not supposed to be in there, I'm telling you now, I'm going to have a real
Suboxone,
problem.
whatever that shows as. I don't know what Suboxone shows as. But that will be in
It
there.
shows up as buprenorphine.
Okay, then yes, that will
So
be.
if it's Suboxone, it'll show up as buprenorphine. But if it shows up as benzodiazepine,
And you haven't used any opiate, you haven't used any Valium or anything recently?
I went to the ER and they gave me some medication.
What day?
I don't have the paperwork. It was,
Last week, 3 weeks ago?
yeah, it was about like a week and a half ago,
That's,
something like that.
that'll be,
Oh, but that's it though, that's it.
okay, but we need to know what that is.
Yeah, but
we'll see. I'm sending him for a test
Lawyer's
now.
starting to get
But
frustrated.
I'm going to tell you now,
Absolutely.
no dope while you're on bond in this court,
sir,
unless otherwise given. If I find that you're using any kind of opiates whatsoever, I'm going to keep you. And I don't care if they're hooting, hollering, crying, no opiates, no alcohol. Do you understand? You get a monitor for both today.
sir.
So I'm going to put a scram on one, a thing, and I'll pay for everything.
Because he has no alcohol issues. I mean, he hasn't used alcohol in years. No, I mean, it's not even alcohol DWI. There's zero alcohol at all on this DWI. And that's, I know you're saying, I'm arguing for you because I think having the scram and I think the scram is a little excessive, Judge. It truly is.
See, one in lieu of the other I was going to do. I'm not going to do both. That's silly. Of course not. I'm not going to do both.
Okay, so just so we have two ankle monitors on, and one scram and one GPS, then he doesn't have to worry about the blower, the portable.
You want the blow?
Well, I'd rather have a portable than it's just, that's a lot to be wearing and stuff. I mean, I don't know, are you okay with
So,
going every 8 hours?
I'm
GPS with a curfew, and then he gets a portable today, please.
Yes.
And then the curfew, and then we send him for the test now, and then we'll see him on Wednesday.
We have the curfew of 10 PM to 6 AM.
And then waive all the fees.
Thank you, Judge. And do they have portables through I know I'm
I
arguing
don't
for
know.
that. Do they do portables through probation? Is he able to get a device, or device that probation pays for it or raises it?
I have no idea about probation.
Okay, I'm sorry, or through pretrial, whoever.
Is he able to get a full through?
That's what I'm asking.
Retrial?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That's,
Listen, I'm gonna tell you now, though, if he's using opiates, and I'm gonna tell you now, if I find that you're using opiates, you and I, our life together here is going to be very, very difficult. It stops now. Do you understand?
Sure.
You need to do whatever you can to stop using, because if you don't, I am now affording you the opportunity to stop using everything now. If you don't, we're going to do it my way, and I promise you, you're
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part.
he didn't hear your last part, Judge.
I apologize.
I'm giving you the opportunity to stop using dope now. If you are unable to, then we're going to do it my way. And I promise you, you're not going to like the way that I do it. It's going to happen. It's not if, it is when, and it's now. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
Because I'm done playing. And the last thing I want, believe it or not, Mr. Jones, I want what's best for you. Okay? And sometimes we have to save people from themselves. But so far, whatever you've been doing, it's not working because in the last 6 years, you've got 6 cases. So whatever you're doing, it's not working. And you need to do something to change your life, because I'm telling you, it's going to be a lifelong battle with you. And you have to come to terms with it, that this is mind over matter. You need to find something to do. You need to find something to occupy your time, because when you have too much time, you become self-destructive because that's the type of personality you have. And I'm telling you, because I have the same personality as well. I'm a very self-destructive person, but I'm always occupying my time, whether it's playing Fortnite with my son, whether it's running in the day, whether it's, shaving my dog's pup gut, whatever it is. I'm always finding time to occupy myself. And that's what you need to do to get over this lifelong battle, because if not, it's going to
I
take
don't know
you by
what
the
that word
boo-boo,
means, but it
and
sounds like
it's
he
not going
talked
to
about
end up
shaving his
well,
dog's
like
ass.
it has been so far.
I think we can all imagine.
See you soon.
Judge, so just to confirm, we're removing the condition to get the IID. Jones, right this way.
To do the what?
Ignition interlock.
No, the ignition interlock stays, because that way DPS needs to know.
All the previous conditions, just adding
Correct.
testing today and getting those devices.
He'd rather be honest with you that there may be a opiate. There may be, you can obviously come about 4 days ago. So it may be positive. You'd rather be, you'd rather just
I want
know.
to know exactly what he's on, because
You'd rather be honest about it.
there's,
Okay, so there at the end, he said there may be some opiates in the drug test. So
Yeah, that's, I don't know. We all had his back in the beginning, and then it kind of slowly unraveled. Like, maybe this guy ain't on the up and up like we think he might be.
I think he's had a horrible life, and he's doing what he feels he needs to do to survive.
I definitely agree.
And Jane's been on fire tonight with her comments, saying that it's that Fleischer does simplify addiction. He does, and I've got to 100% agree with Judge Fleischer on it. If you don't have these issues, you simply don't see the problem. You don't see it. You literally just, hey, knock it off, and that that just doesn't work for somebody who's addicted or somebody who's hurting.
I wish it did. I really would.
No, absolutely, and
That
I'm
would
sure
make
a lot of
things
them was.
so much easier. Yeah.
I had a woman who worked for me, and I loved her like a sister, and I watched her be the worst mother to her children. I saw her, if she was going to date a guy who would treat her right, she'd run away from him. But if there was a guy that would hit her, she fell in love day one. She was focused on her own, her own destruction. And you just kept watching it go down. And now I think she's about 40 years old, but she probably looks 70 right now. She's just, life's just been really hard on her. And it stemmed from being abused as a child, and just, it just never got any better for her. But she certainly wasn't doing things that helped her out on it. And so,
Yeah, and I also think that a lot of people who don't have experience with addiction just simplify it. That just because they don't, just from their own ignorance, it's not their fault. They just don't understand it. They're not inside it, and that's the problem. I mean, once you're inside it, you're like, wow, this makes sense and sucks and has so many different facets you never ever imagined. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I really wouldn't. One of the biggest things, especially anybody who sees me in Biggins, when people are users and they get thrown in jail, I had to detox in jail, and I do not wish that on anybody. That was absolutely the worst experience of my life.
yeah, and I can't imagine that they've got really good medical treatment there. I know they have medical treatment there,
No.
but it doesn't seem to me like they have the best bedside manner.
Yeah, no, and they knew I was withdrawing, and they did offer me like over the counter like antiemetics, so I would try to stop puking. It didn't work, and then they said, well, if you keep throwing up, then we'll come back and give you a shot. And I kept throwing up, and I finally called the guard back, and I was like, they said that they would come back and give me a shot, and they're like, that ain't happening. Like, I don't know who the hell you think you are, but that's not happening. And yeah, that was it. So yeah, I was withdrawing until, oh God, that was awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Well, either way, we'll find out probably on Monday. Probably Monday, the defendant will be back in the court, and I'm gonna do a little bit of searching on him. I'm gonna just see what I can pull up on the public record stuff. I really hate doing that, but it would be a little bit more understanding if he got in an accident and there were people that were hurt, or if he, saying it'd be a little bit more better to
Right.
understand more about him. I love it when you get more information on some of these court things, but I feel creepy every time I look up anything. Public
I
records are
get
public
that.
records, but I feel like it just feels odd looking up someone's information, and it starts to scare me to see just how much of our information is out there.
Yeah.
So,
Now, Jane, the opiate, it depends on the jail. It depends. I know I've heard from back when I was in active addiction, some of my fellow users were talking about getting arrested in LA. And they were like, that was the greatest place to get arrested because we just told them that we were addicts and they immediately shipped us to the ER where we spent basically our entire time in the ER while they gave us IV meds to make sure we didn't go into withdrawals because that's probably a jail where they've had people suffering from withdrawal die on their hands. Here in Texas, the jail I was in, they did not care. So I was arrested on a warrant that was from way back when I was an addict a couple months ago. That's all cleared up, and it was an error. Anyway, and that jail, I told them that I was on methadone, and they were like, okay, if you have that, your family can bring the prescriptions to the jail, and we can give it to you here. So I know that jail did accommodate that, but as far as going through withdrawals in Travis County and Austin, they didn't care. So.
Okay. Hey, thanks everybody for being on the show. This one's a little bit different because we're talking about a real crummy topic, but it's a good topic. It's a topic that I need to learn more about. I need to know more about it, and it's good to kind of get it out there and have some of those conversations. Thank you so much, Alli, for helping me with this. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for everybody coming out. I appreciate you listening to us and my crazy stories.
And if any of y'all, it's really fun being a YouTube viewer. If any of y'all have a story you want to talk about or something you want to get out, just reach out to me. My email address is on the YouTube channel. I stick my phone number in the chat too many times. But if someone of y'all wants to give us a story, just drop it in there, and we're all a family and we all work together. So, but other than that,
absolutely.
you guys have a great day, and thank you so much, Alli.
No problem. Good night, guys.